Welcome to Wesley Impact. I'm Keith Garner. Have you noticed an increase in gambling across popular sports in Australia? I'm looking forward to sharing with you this time. There's no doubt that we love our sport, whether it's cricket, soccer, basketball, netball, the AFL, Rugby Union League, or any. We've got so many codes. It can be difficult to avoid, however, the gambling advertising. Increasingly, gambling odds are becoming part of the sports commentary, and this is something that I'd like to discuss with my guest a little later in the show. We'll be joined by one of Wesley Mission's gambling counsellors, Diane Flack, who's been with us for a short time, couple of years, working with us to help people overcome gambling addiction and the negative impact that gambling can have on individuals and their families. We're now we're supposed to be well into the AFL and Rugby League competitions. Things have been very different this year. But I thought it would still be a good topic to discuss, this whole question of gambling and sport. If at any point in today's episode you'd like to reach out to us, to someone to discuss a gambling issue in your life, or for someone who's close to you, please don't hesitate to contact us, and a member of the Wesley Mission team will be in touch. Now, the details are on the screen just now. We're going to be joined in the studio by Jordan Warner, who's going to sing Nobody Loves Me Like You. And as I carry on with my thoughts about Eastertide, I'll explore some of the words of living hope that we find in 1 Peter in the New Testament a little later in the show. I mentioned that we're talking to Diane Flack, one of Wesley Mission's gambling counsellors, a little later today. I thought I'd set the context for that conversation by looking at one story from our gambling counselling work. Let's take a look together.
Wesley Mission's gambling counselling service meets a broad range of needs in a client. So whilst gambling has brought a client into our offices, we're dealing with a whole human being.
I walked into a pub one day and I found, how can I be social without being social? There was a back room with a draw card machine, but I got into it too much where it became every moment that I wasn't working, I was getting into the pub to play the machine. I started getting depressed. I started feeling mentally incapacitated.
When people come to see a counsellor at Wesley, they are in distress. Something has happened in their life that has brought them to recognise that they can't continue the way they have been going.
And I was working for an organisation in the city where I had 5 people under my control doing accounts work. I did the banking and I didn't put the cash in the bank. I kept it in my back pocket. I was just gambling and not living. I was going to every van there was to have a meal. I knew it was the biggest problem, but I didn't know how to find an answer to it.
Gambling is most often a symptomatic part of a bigger problem.
He wasn't just helping with the gambling. He was actually there because I needed housing and I was on the street. It wasn't just a gambling hat. You have to look at it in my mental health was number one, even before he looked at the gambling, even if it took longer to get rid of the gambling.
At the end of their journey with Wesley Mission, I simply want them to be empowered to take control of their lives. I want them to be able to make choice consciously and effectively.
I don't have a lot of anxiety anymore. I still have those situations where buses can really give me problems. Trains, when they're full, can really give me problems. But I'm living, and that's what it is, living a life that's fruitful.
What happens for me and what happens for any therapist working in this area is that there is joy to be had in seeing clients progress.
What I would say to someone with gambling is to seek out help when you're ready. You need to be fully committed to looking at all your issues, not just your gambling. So to look inside yourself, it's sometimes scary, but where's your life going to be otherwise?
If you would like to learn more about Wesley Mission, visit wesleymission.org.au. You can find help in our community services, connect with our church and congregations, discover a volunteer role that suits you, stay up to date on the latest news and information, donate to support our work, and help make a positive difference in your community. You can also connect with us on social media and subscribe to receive the latest news and information about Wesley Mission directly into your inbox. Visit wesleymission.org.au.
Now, the Wesley Mission contact details are on the screen once again. Reach out to us if we can be of any help to you or a loved one in any way. I'm focusing today specifically on the area of gambling counselling, and would like to introduce you to one of our gambling counsellors at Wesley Mission, Diane Flack. Diane is a member of the Wesley Mission Team working on the south coast of New South Wales and in other places too. Welcome, Diane. It's good to talk to you.
Pleasure to be
How long have you been with us?
2 years.
2 years. But you were doing that before with another agency, so you've been doing it 5 years or in total? 5 years with the two or just one?
2 with Wesley, 1 with the other. That's right.
So it's 3 years, so you've become very familiar with it. How do you describe to people? They sit around and say, what do you do for a living? How do you describe what you do?
I help people have a full and happy life, because that's my goal. That's what I want. And gambling is not part of that. Yeah. It sucks the life out of people, you know, and it breaks my heart when they come in and it affects their families, it affects their jobs. I mean, I've had clients who have gone to jail for their gambling. That's not okay.
No. And I know that you love Wollongong on the south coast, but the work that we do stretches right along the coast. How many people do you see in an ordinary day?
So in my Sutherland office, I could see anywhere between 4 to 6 clients a day.
Yeah.
So it's quite an extensive problem. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here today, is to let people know that there's help out there. You know, don't suffer alone. A lot of my clients will say, oh, I try and give up on my own. And I often say, well, life is so tough. Doesn't it help to have extra support? You know, and all the counsellors in our team are really supportive. And we're great to talk to.
So all these counsellors that you have working with us together in a team, you're generally dealing with men in their 50s, is that right?
It ranges from all ages. I've got young clients, retired clients, and I think that's the biggest issue, is a lot of people get super funds or inheritance or job payouts.
And women?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because a lot of people are lonely. So they'll often go to the clubs to relieve themselves of their loneliness.
Yes.
And it's just sad. You know, life is so wonderful out there.
So you're sitting talking about what you do, and somebody says to you then, what's the cause of all this gambling? Is there a root cause that we can identify?
Majority of the people who come and see me have won money at some point. And that's what sort of gets them addicted, and it changes their thought processes. They believe that they can win, but I often tell them that there's very little chance of winning.
And then there's the winning back when you do lose, isn't there? You know, I'm going to win it back, you know.
Well, that's an indication that someone might have a gambling issue if they're trying to chase the money they've lost. You know, and one of the things that an indicator is if they're chasing. So if you find yourself chasing money that you've lost, that's an indication you could have a problem.
Do people want to overcome the gambling problem when they come to see you?
Absolutely. By the time they come to see me, they're usually in crisis, and they're so desperate to stop because their partner's about to leave them, their children won't speak to them, they're heavily in debt, and it's just really sad. And they're emotionally and physically harmed as well, because they're almost broken people, you know, and it's my role to sort of pick them back up and teach them new ways of coping with stress.
Diane, can you really offer them hope?
Absolutely. Like, life is full of stress, and we all have ways of coping with it. And if I show them different ways to coping, then they're not going to be turning to the poker machines or gambling.
I remember somebody writing to me from prison who watches the programme regularly, who ended up in prison after gambling, losing family and everybody.
They've lost their freedom.
But it is possible to restart your life, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Stay with you in a moment or two, because I want to talk to you a little bit further. But I suppose you've shared with us it could be anybody. Yeah. It could be any age.
Yeah.
What's the most common form of gambling?
Poker machines. I think it's the most damaging because you can spend so much money so quickly. But horse bet's also an issue, and sports bets as well.
And in the area of sports bets, you've touched on something in that it can be not only gambling on the result of the match, it can be when is the first corner,
Yes.
when is the first kick, is somebody gets sent off, in what minutes would they be sent off? This is the wrong word, but more sophisticated and complicated, doesn't it?
I think it becomes intrusive into the game. You know, you're not watching a game anymore, you're gambling. Which I think is sad because people like to watch football.
But you've got good stories of people who have been changed.
Absolutely, I do. Yes.
And when they're changed, do they stay changed? Do they go back to gambling?
Most of the time they stay. Gambling is a part of their past. And if they do go back to gambling, usually they realise, oh, this is not something that I want to do.
Yeah.
So it changes their views about gambling.
They've known a better way after coming out.
Yes.
Stay with me because I'd like to talk to you a little bit more. Don't forget, if we can be of help to you or a loved one who's struggling with gambling in any way, you can reach out to Wesley Mission and a member of our team will be in touch. Now, our contact details are on the screen once again. Don't be afraid to contact us in that way. Please welcome now Jordan Warner, who's going to sing Nobody Loves Me Like You.
I see you in the sunrise every morning. It's like a picture that you've painted for me. A love letter in the sky. Story, I could have had a really different story. But you came down from heaven to restore me. Forever saved my life. Nobody loves me
Over the years of Wesley Impact, Keith Garner has had hundreds of conversations sharing stories of hope, resilience, love and the Christian faith. Perspectives on Faith and Sport is a collection of inspiring and insightful conversations with people who are champions in their field, including Commonwealth Games gold medalist Deb Lovely, tennis great Margaret Court, Olympic swimmer Elka Whalen, long distance runner Eloise Wellings, Olympic gold medalist Duncan Armstrong, and two-time boxing world champion Nigel Benn. Each conversation shares a unique perspective on sport and the achievements of notable sporting greats, and collectively presents a broad cross-section of athletes and how their faith has changed their lives. Perspectives on Faith and Sport is the second instalment of a 3-part series and is available now from Wesley Mission. To find out more, contact Wesley Mission on 02 9263 5555 or email impacttv@wesleymission.org.au.
The words I want to share with you today come from 1 Peter, and they're words that breathe confidence into Christian living, even when people have to face challenges of many different kinds. It's written to a scattered church that you find at the very beginning of 1 Peter, scattered throughout the whole of the provinces at that time. But these are the words I want to read to you from 1 Peter chapter 1, verses 3 through to 9. Praise be to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. In his great mercy, he's given us a new birth into a living hope through the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead, and into an inheritance that can never perish, spoil, or fade. This inheritance is kept in heaven for you, who through faith are shielded by God's power until the coming of the salvation that is ready to be revealed in the last time. In all this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while you may have to suffer grief in many different kinds of trials. These have come so that the proven genuineness of your faith, a greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire, may result in praise, glory and honour when Jesus Christ is revealed. Though you've not seen him, you love him. And even though you don't see him now, you believe in him and are filled with an inexpressible and glorious joy. For you are receiving the end result of your faith, the salvation of your souls. Well, this is a challenging passage, but I think it really touches on the different expressions of people's lives, and especially the difficult parts. When I read that in verse, it says you go through all kinds of trials. I shared a few minutes ago with someone talking about a particular challenge in their lives, going through trials that really would test the whole nature of their lives. But people go through trials of all kinds. And certainly in this church that was scattered, as I've said, through these different places. It tells the provinces of Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia and Bithynia. All these different places, there were many, many people struggling to express faith, struggling in the light of all that had gone before, and beginning to suffer for faith. It's a test of faith. It tells us in verse 7, these have come to you so that the proven genuineness of your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire. Oh gosh, it's a real trial that people have to live through sometimes. But not only do they live through it, it proves the genuineness of our faith. And that really is proven through going through experiences. Many people, whatever their circumstances, whether they're being helped from one issue or another, when they come out the other side, they're stronger, they've come through those experiences, and they're made more genuine. And I find that to be very, very powerful. When I think of the accounts in the New Testament about the resurrection, what it does to people's lives, when I turn to these words in 1 Peter, I'm given a tremendous sense of hope, because it says, praise to the God for a living hope. We've been given a living hope through what we've been through. So resurrection is not simply a doctrine or something we say. It is the very basis of our hope. And for the earliest church, they had to wrestle with their experiences, their rejections, their hurt, their difficulties. And through it, as they came through it, they had confidence. Indeed, they had hope. And hope is a very, very powerful word. It's what we try to offer people at Wesley Mission in one way and another. We try to say to people, there is hope. There is something better. Things don't have to be as they are now, because we are believing with joy. I also find in this passage there's something really powerful about joy that's found here. It results in praise, glory and honour when Jesus Christ is revealed. And we're filled with an inexpressible and glorious joy. I mean, joy doesn't seem to fit in very easily with those things that were the struggle here for these people. It doesn't seem to fit in with many of the experiences that people go through. But when people call us or call in on us, whether it's homelessness or whether it's that they're going through all kinds of dysfunctionality in their family and the stresses and strains that come, when they come through the other side, when things are better, there can be a joy. And I like the way it says here, inexpressible joy. It's something that's marvellous because it fills us with hope. And this passage can speak to people in the very real circumstances of living out faith. The word trial can be defined as a test or an examination. One writer wrote that we must receive them with joy, recognising a God-given opportunity. And that's really what it's about. When I think of resurrection, what God does for us in Jesus Christ, he gives us a new beginning, a new opportunity to start again. And I don't think there's anything in the world that we can say at Wesley Mission that's better to people than you can start your life all over again, brand new, refreshing and new. Now that really is resurrection. And when it takes hold of our lives, it makes all the difference to the way we live, to the way we serve, and the way we enjoy a fullness of life.
If you would like to contact Keith and find out more about today's program, write to us at Wesley Mission, Post Office Box A 5555, Sydney South 1235, or you can send us an email to impacttv@wesleymission.org.au. On our website, you can catch up on past episodes of Wesley Impact, find out more about our work, read online magazines and articles, and connect with us on social media. You can also connect through Keith's blog and stay up to date on all the latest news and information from Wesley Mission, wesleymission.org.au.
Well, thanks for joining us today as I've looked at this very important topic of gambling and looked at some of the work we do at Wesley Mission in this area. I'd like to just continue for a moment with Diane Flack, one of our Wesley Mission's gambling counsellor. If somebody is struggling with gambling, and many do, or suspects a loved one is struggling, what are some of the signs that they can look out for?
If you're worried that someone might have a gambling issue, it could be they're chasing losses. So that means they're spending more money than they intend to get back what they've lost. But if a family member's worried, often they're distracted, money's missing, they never have any money, so that can be an indication. But if you yourself have a gambling issue, if you're consumed by gambling, don't suffer alone. Come and see us. You know, we're a friendly service, and we're happy to talk to you about it.
So if somebody's listening in on this conversation and it struck a chord with them, you know, what it is that we're talking about, what advice have you got to do? What should they do?
Please don't wait until you're at crisis. Don't wait until your bank balance says zero. You know, don't wait until your partner's about to leave you. Come and get help. A lot of my clients will say, I'll try and do this on my own. And I often tell them, life is so tough. If you can get extra support and I can give you tips and ideas along the way, why not reach out and ask for help? You know, there's no judgment, there's no stigma. You know, we're here to help you. That's my role, to make your life better.
Well, thanks very much for sharing your story and your expertise with us today, Diane. God bless you in the work that you do. And thank you also for being with us. Please do reach out if we can be of help to you or a loved one in any way. I look forward to seeing you at the same time next week, meeting as we do here on this Impact programme, Wesley Impact, and all that it means to us. God bless you. Have a great week.